Tonight, breaking news as we come on the air. This life-threatening heat, the Northeast, the Midwest, the Mid-Atlantic, and for many, it's about to get worse. Ginger Zee is here. Also just in, the house explosion in upstate New York, the images coming in from Syracuse. And Justin Timberlake arrested for DWI, the new images just in of him driving before the arrest. First tonight, the dangerous heat, surging temperatures across at least 20 states and into the Northeast. Temperatures in the 90s, the heat index, the feel-like reading, above 100. Tonight, New York's governor calling up the National Guard. In the West, crews battling at least 19 wildfires. The emergency playing out right now in New Mexico. And the tropical storm warning tonight, the first of the hurricane season. Ginger takes us through it all. Tonight, President Biden's major move on immigration, protecting 500,000 undocumented immigrants who are married to U.S. citizens who have been here for 10 years or more. It comes just weeks after President Biden's crackdown on the border, shutting it down between legal ports of entry. In New York City tonight, the NYPD making an arrest in the horrific daytime sexual assault of a 13-year-old in a park. Tonight, Boeing CEO grilled on Capitol Hill for the first time since that door plug blew off the plane at 16,000 feet. Tonight, Russia's Vladimir Putin and the red carpet welcome in North Korea. Putin praising North Korea for supporting the war in Ukraine. Arthur Raddatz is here. Back in the U.S. tonight, Justin Timberlake arrested for DWI in the Hamptons, accused of driving through a stop sign and swerving out of his lane. Tonight, the new video just in of Timberlake driving before that arrest and what Timberlake told the arresting officer. Tonight, Celine Dion's emotional return to the stage, battling stiff person syndrome, and what she revealed. Also tonight here, the $53 plane tickets for travel in the U.S. and beyond. The veteran actor recovering after falling from the stage, and how Boston plans to celebrate the Celtics. Get the duck boats ready.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening, and it's great to have you with us here on a very busy Tuesday night. We do begin tonight with this dangerous heat. At least 70 million Americans in 20 states from Missouri all the way to Maine. Record highs from Chicago to Syracuse, New York to Bangor, Maine. Tonight, New York's governor calling up the National Guard, and authorities warn in many places the heat is about to get worse before it gets better. The searing heat from the Ohio Valley up through the Northeast to Maine, the heat dome with a lock on much of the country tonight. In some regions, this will be the hottest week in 30 years. And again, this is just mid-June. Just look at the numbers in some of the major cities in the forecast. The highs expected, any number there with a red box around it would be a record. Nashville set to hit 100, a record. 99 in Pittsburgh, a record as well. 97 forecasted in Boston. All of these, of course, again, would be record highs. And combine that with the humidity, you get a feel-like reading above 100. In the west at this hour, more than a dozen fires in California, the Arrow Fire in Calaveras County. Tonight, New Mexico declaring a state of emergency as two fires now converge on one town. Hundreds of homes and buildings already lost tonight, families forced to evacuate. And this evening, along parts of the Gulf Coast, a tropical storm warning, the first of the hurricane season. Ginger Zee standing by with the forecast, and Stephanie Ramos leading us off right here in New York tonight.
Tonight, 70 million Americans in the grips of a brutal, record-shattering heat wave. That rare and early blast of oppressive temperatures scorching 20 states from Missouri to Maine. New York's governor calling up the National Guard to help. In New York City, the fire department warning of the dangers of these temperatures.
We see the calls firsthand. Once you get heat stroke, it is too late. It is literally one of the #1 killers across the country.
In Philadelphia, Leo Saavedra sweltering in his food truck.
Outside is hot, inside is even hotter. So it's always 10 degrees more.
The heat spreading across New England, the Boston area challenging daily high temperature records.
And when you factor in the humidity, look at the heat index tomorrow. It will likely surpass 100 degrees.
In the West, at least 19 large wildfires raging out of control. A state of emergency declared in New Mexico as two fires converge on the town of Ruidoso. At least 500 structures damaged. Donna and Tim Oracion forced to flee their cabin as the flames closed in.
The village is in immediate danger now of that fire. We are just hoping and praying that the fire can be contained.
In California, time-lapse video showing the site fire exploding northwest of Sacramento, already burning more than 15 square miles, fueled by dry, gusty winds. Back here in New York City tonight, David, officials are very concerned about this extreme heat and how long it's expected to last. Officials are urging people to not underestimate these temperatures. The average American city is already seeing twice as many heat waves than we did 40 years ago, David.
Stephanie Ramos leading us off tonight. Stephanie, thank you. Let's get right to Chief Meteorologist Ginger Zee tracking it all. And Ginger, I know you're going to start again tonight with this dangerous heat.
Yes, David, the heart of this dangerous heat is now focusing right on the Northeast and interior New England. Take a place like Syracuse. They have never had 94+ degrees for 4 days in a row in the month of June. And the last time they did it was more than 70 years ago. Most of the time that happens in July, August, or September. But no, this is what we're dealing with, this early and long duration heat wave. And you can see those excessive heat warnings still include Detroit. Pittsburgh's got one now up into Maine and parts of New Hampshire. Here's the deal. That high we've been talking about, the dome, not only sits around, but kind of backtracks and then expands over the weekend. And that's why Nashville or Atlanta starts to get real hot. Raleigh, too. But Pittsburgh stays in those records, as does Boston the next 2 days. Also want to point to South Texas, where now tropical storm warnings start farther north. It's San Luis Pass down to the mouth of the Rio Grande. So you can look for some storm surge on the order of 2 to 4 feet in Galveston Bay. And the rain. We're talking flash flood potential, 5 to upwards of 15 inches on the very outside of what could be Alberto by tomorrow. David.
We'll see you first thing in the morning on GMA. Thank you, Ginger, again tonight. We also have images coming in at this hour from upstate New York. An urgent search and rescue effort underway in Syracuse. Dozens of firefighters on the scene of a collapsed home there. A possible gas explosion. Authorities fear several people might have been inside at the time of the explosion on Carbon Street. First responders digging through the rubble. At least 10 people rushed to the hospital already. At least 8 in serious condition. Authorities believe there could have been some who are still trapped. The fire chief saying a car was crushed. They do remain on the scene at this hour. We turn now to the issue of immigration in this country. And this evening, President Biden's major move protecting 500,000 undocumented immigrants who are currently married to U.S. citizens and who have been here for 10 years or more. The president saying today we should keep families together. It comes just weeks after President Biden's crackdown on the border. The Biden administration trying to strike a balance with the presidential election nearing. Here's Selina Wang tonight.
Tonight, President Biden announcing the most sweeping protections for undocumented immigrants since the Obama administration, a new policy that will impact roughly 500,000 people. The president protecting from deportation the undocumented spouses of American citizens, provided they've been living in the country for at least a decade and have not been convicted of a crime.
It embraces the American principle that we should keep families together.
Only people who are already married would qualify, not those who get married in the future.
These couples have been raising families, sending their kids to church and school, paying taxes.
Under current rules, these people would have to leave the country to apply for a green card, an uncertain process that can take years. But when the new policy goes into effect at the end of the summer, they'll be able to remain in the United States while their applications are processed. Their children will also be allowed to stay. Ashley De Azevedo, who has been married to her husband, an undocumented immigrant from Brazil for 12 years, tells me this is a game changer.
The ability to work in the United States and earn a better income and really contribute to the family in meaningful ways is just absolutely, I don't even have the words for how powerful today and this moment is.
The president's move comes just 2 weeks after he imposed tough new border security rules blocking asylum claims for undocumented immigrants between official points of entry. That policy seen as a betrayal by some on the left. Today's move a sign of the balance Biden hopes to strike with the election just 5 months away.
I refuse to believe that to secure our border, we have to walk away from being in America.
Campaigning in battleground Wisconsin today, Donald Trump attacked Biden's move as mass amnesty.
Under this program, a deluge of illegals will be given immediate green cards and put on the fast track to rapid citizenship.
And David, Donald Trump is also claiming that President Biden is putting these undocumented immigrants on the fast track to citizenship so that they can vote this November. But that is not true. No one covered in this executive action will be able to vote in this election, but they will be able to in the future if they become citizens. David?
Selina Wang at the White House tonight. Selina, thank you. Tonight here in New York City, the NYPD arresting the suspect after a horrific daytime sexual assault of a 13-year-old girl in a park. Here's Aaron Katursky.
This is the suspect police in New York say sexually assaulted a 13-year-old girl after school in a Queens park, forcing her into the woods at knife point. The broad daylight attack shocked the city, and tonight police are crediting people in the neighborhood for the arrest.
They knew who he was. When they saw him out on the street, they tried to detain him. They called 911.
This photo, obtained by ABC News, shows police detaining Christian Giovanni Ingalandi early this morning. The migrant from Ecuador entered the U.S. illegally in 2021 through Eagle Pass, Texas. After Thursday's attack, police released this video of the suspect, people in the neighborhood recognizing him.
I seen him walking into the store, and I had to take him out. And I told everybody, yo, this is the rapist, you know. I punched him, I kicked him a little bit, I ain't gonna lie.
The 13-year-old and a male friend were in the park after school when police say Ingalandi pulled a large knife and ordered them into a secluded part of Casino Park and sexually assaulted the girl in front of her friend. Police said the suspect told them, David, that he happened to find that large knife, had never done anything like this before, and had a drug problem. Tonight he's charged with rape, with kidnapping, and a slew of other crimes, David.
Aaron Katersky here in New York tonight. Thank you, Aaron. We turn now to Capitol Hill tonight. Boeing CEO grilled for the first time since that door plug blew off the plane at 16,000 feet. Passengers right in that row. Gio Benitez covers aviation.
Tonight, Boeing CEO under fire on Capitol Hill. Dave Calhoun in the hot seat for the first time since that door plug flew off a Boeing 737 MAX 9 at 16,000 feet, grilled on the company's safety record.
You're cutting corners. You are eliminating safety procedures. You are sticking it to your employees. You are cutting back jobs because you're trying to squeeze every piece of profit you can.
I don't recognize any of the Boeing you described.
Really?
And I want to assure...
You don't recognize the Boeing that has airplanes falling out of the sky, that has had 2 Maxes crash, that has had pieces of doors fall out of the sky?
This as a new whistleblower comes forward. Sam Mohawk, a Boeing quality assurance investigator, alleging faulty parts that are not up to standard are being installed in new planes, warning it could lead to a catastrophic event. Boeing and Calhoun himself say they are reviewing the claims and that they encourage employees to report all concerns. But when asked if he has personally spoken with any of the whistleblowers,
I have not directly spoken to any of the whistleblowers.
Do you think that'd be a good idea to do that?
Yeah, I think it would.
Calhoun first took over the company in a moment of crisis following the tragic crashes of 737 MAX planes in 2018 and 2019 that killed 346 people in Ethiopia and Indonesia. Calhoun at one point turning to the families, apologizing and promising change.
I want you to know we are totally committed to your men to work and focus on safety.
And David, the DOJ is exploring whether to criminally prosecute Boeing over those MAX crashes, and Calhoun has already said he plans to leave the company at the end of the year. David.
Gio Benitez live up on Capitol Hill for us. Gio, thank you. Overseas tonight at the red carpet welcome for Vladimir Putin arriving in North Korea. Putin, of course, has praised North Korea for supporting the war in Ukraine. Here's Martha Raddatz tonight.
Tonight, 2 of America's fiercest adversaries together on North Korean soil. Vladimir Putin arriving in Pyongyang for the first time in nearly a quarter of a century, greeting the Russian president on the red carpet, Kim Jong Un, talking animatedly, each leader insisting the other enter the limousine first. But this is a relationship born out of need. Kim seeking help from Russia with nuclear and ballistic missile technology, and Putin increasingly relying on North Korea for hundreds of thousands of artillery rounds and missiles in his fight against Ukraine. Kim and Putin met once before, last year in Russia, but this North Korea trip, with hours of one-on-one meetings planned for Wednesday and the streets of Pyongyang lined with Putin's portrait, sends a strong signal to the West that the so-called axis of dictators is only growing stronger. While the U.S. says Putin's trip shows desperation in his fight against Ukraine, officials make no secret that Putin's public embrace of Kim is troubling. David?
Martha Raddatz live in Washington. Thank you, Martha. Back in the U.S., meanwhile, Justin Timberlake has been arrested for DWI in the Hamptons on Long Island, accused of driving through a stop sign and swerving out of his lane. Tonight, here, the new video of Timberlake driving before his arrest and what Timberlake told the arresting officer. Here now, Trevor Ault.
Tonight, pop superstar Justin Timberlake accused of driving while intoxicated, held in jail overnight in the Hamptons, the affluent beach community on Long Island, New York. This DailyMail.com photo showing the 43-year-old in handcuffs. Police say shortly after midnight, Timberlake was behind the wheel in Sag Harbor when he ran a stop sign and swerved out of his lane. This surveillance video shows Timberlake's gray BMW driving down Main Street shortly before his arrest. According to the criminal complaint, when an officer pulled him over, Timberlake had bloodshot, glassy eyes, slowed speech, and was unsteady on his feet, performing poorly on a field sobriety test. The officer quoted Timberlake saying, "I had one martini and followed my friends home." But that arresting officer said Timberlake's breath smelled of alcohol. And according to the complaint, Timberlake refused a chemical test for intoxication 3 times. This morning, the pop star arraigned and released without bail. Justin Timberlake is in the middle of a tour, and he's set to perform in Chicago on Friday, but he's now also scheduled to be back in court on July 26th. David?
Trevor, thank you. To the economy now, and new record highs tonight in the stock market. The NASDAQ and S&P 500 both setting new records again today. That's 2 days of records in a row. The Dow closing with modest gains as well. When we come back tonight, the new deal, $53 plane tickets for travel in the U.S. and beyond. Also, the veteran actor recovering from a fall from the stage. And Celine Dion's tonight, her very emotional return to the stage. You'll see it. Tonight, the nation's second largest school district has voted to ban students from carrying cell phones during the school day. The Los Angeles Unified School District citing safety and security concerns along with disruptions in learning. This starts next January. Southwest Airlines celebrating 53 years in business with $53 one-way fares. Select dates and flights, some international destinations as well, including Puerto Rico and Hawaii, too. This deal ends Thursday at midnight. When we come back here tonight, the veteran actor and the fall from the stage, how he's doing, and Boston getting the duck boats ready tonight. To the index of other news, and Boston is getting ready to celebrate the Celtics NBA championship, the 18th championship, the most in NBA history, beating the Dallas Mavericks. A parade Friday morning in front of the Garden. Celtics players will, of course, be riding in the city's duck boats. Tonight, veteran actor Sir Ian McKellen is recovering after a fall from a London stage. The 85-year-old is expected to make a full recovery. Witnesses say McKellen appeared to lose his footing during a fight scene in the current production of Player Kings. Tonight, McKellen is said to be in good spirits. We wish him well. When we come back, Celine Dion's emotional return to the stage, and you'll see it right here. Finally tonight here, Celine Dion's emotional return to the stage as she battles stiff person syndrome, the audience embracing her. Here's Deborah Roberts.
Celine Dion taking to the stage at the New York premiere of her new documentary, I Am Celine Dion.
This is by far the biggest crowd I've had in a few years. Missed that.
Thanking her family and fans for their support.
Your presence in my journey has been a gift beyond measure. Your never-ending love and support over all these years have delivered me to this moment tonight.
The movie giving viewers a glimpse inside the singer's new reality after being diagnosed and living with the neurological disorder stiff person syndrome.
I'm working hard every day, but I have to admit, it's been a struggle. I miss it so much. The people, I miss them.
At 56, Dion announcing her diagnosis in 2022.
It's not hard to do a show, you know. It's hard to cancel a show. If I can't run, I'll walk. If I can't walk, I'll crawl. I won't stop. I won't stop.
Dion ending with a simple yet powerful message.
This movie is my love letter to each of you. I hope to see you all again very, very soon.
We certainly hope so, too. Of course, our thanks to Deborah tonight. I'm David Muir. I'll see you right back here tomorrow night. Good night.
Thank you for making World News Tonight with David Muir, America's most watched newscast.